So let's come to a seated position. And we'll arrive. This is going to be more for me than it is for you in terms of this opening breathing. But I'm just playing around. We can all benefit from slowing down our breath. So let's get into a comfortable seated position. If you're on your mat on the ground, whatever is going to be comfortable for you. If you're sitting in a chair at your desk, you can do this as well. Hands will rest on the thighs. We'll close the eyes. And imagine the crown of your head like a big magnet being drawn up to the sky. You may notice that the chin slides back ever so slightly. Feeling this tall, upright posture, we'll start to elongate the breath cycle. So we're going to take our time here, breathing in, filling into the belly and all the way around. And we'll exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And just slowing down the pace of your breath. It may not match my speed. Just notice what it feels like to take a little bit longer to fill up and to empty your air out. Right? We can actually use that long exhale to our advantage to kick the body or the nervous system into more of our parasympathetic state, our rest, digest, and repair. So when we take those long, slow exhales, it can be really calming for us. Already I feel a little more, or I should say a little less frazzled from tech things. So we use these first few moments to find the breath, to settle in. And we're tuning into the sensations of our body. What do we feel? What's the temperature of the air coming in through the nose? Do we feel any achy or tight spots in our body as we kind of scan through in this seated position? Warming up those kind of internal sensors. Draw the chin down to your chest, slowly rolling that head around. Really taking your time here. No need to rush. If there's any pain at any point in the class, we don't want to feel pain. Let's reverse directions. So the first option is just to back away slightly and see if that helps things out. If it's still feeling painful or uncomfortable, then you can just kind of sit back and take a break. And you can even drop it in chat and I might be able to offer up another solution here for you. Just appreciating all of the angles that the neck can travel in. I've been on the computer a lot this morning, so this feels really nice to just feel this stretch all the way across.
I don't know if anyone here on Zoom, but it sounds like your voice is really quiet here on Zoom.
Okay. Voice is really quiet. Okay. Interesting. Hold on one sec. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. And I think I may know what it is. That's exactly what it is. This should sound much better. Yes. I told you, technology is not on my side today. But that's okay. We just laugh it off. We continue breathing. Let's get into the shoulders a little bit now. Thank you for that. Always appreciate your input if things aren't going well there. All right, so what I was going to get into with the neck here, and hopefully you can see this a little more clearly on the side cam, is we're going to take the chin up, forward, down, and I imagine I've got a little itch on my chin that I'm going to scratch with my chest bone as I drag it up and back. So I'm kind of doing a head circle this way, right, or a neck circle this way. Taking it slow. Ooh, thank you for the follow. Whoever that was, I'll say hello in a moment. Really see what you can feel here, especially this bottom portion where we drop the chin to the chest bone and slide it up and back. Imagine you're sitting up against the wall and you're trying to push your head to the wall behind you. Nice. This feels really good. I'm getting some nice stretches that come up along the back of the neck, especially if we've been kind of forward head position on our computers or our phones. This sliding back, and Pilates Mama SD had a really nice cue for it. She called it a chin, I think it was a chin glide. Please correct me if I'm wrong there, Pilates Mama. But it's just this action. You can see on this side cam here, I'm just slotting my head back like you're tucking a book into the bookshelf. I have a bookshelf right here, so I can use that analogy, right? So I'm just going to take my head, tuck that head back. Nice. And so we can think of that analogy when we do some other movements today, okay? Let's get into our shoulders a little bit. Yes, cool. Pilates Mama. Yes, that was correct. I heard that in your Pilates class, and I thought it was excellent. So let's take the head back to neutral here. We're going to take our shoulders up to our ears and then down towards the floor, right? Just packing those shoulder blades down. Up towards the ears and packing it down. Good. Maybe you get a little bit higher and down. Nice. Thank you, John Bro, acting as moderator. I can't quite see everything. Is that Zulzapan? Thank you for the follow there. So just see how much movement you can get between the shoulders up towards your ears and then down, packing those shoulder blades down into your back pocket, right? We're going to add to this here. We're going to make a big circle. So we'll start with the shoulder blades up towards your ears. Then we draw them together. So we squeeze them back behind you and drop them down and circle around. Right? Again, we do that again. We're making big shoulder blade circles there with the hands connected. Yes, very nice to have you here. How big a circle can you make? Imagine exaggerating all of these movements. And in order to do that, we need to add a little bit of muscular action, right? Kittens and Kilos was talking about, he was doing a little self-massage and talking about you have to input a little activity to get something out of this. So rather than just rolling the shoulders, which can feel nice, we're using muscular action to exaggerate and express the full movement of the shoulder blade. So you might feel some warmth and some fatigue over time. Thanks, John, bro. Let's reverse the direction there. We're going to play with this a little bit more today, getting into kind of the shoulder girdle, which is kind of the shoulder blade, the collarbone, everything that supports the shoulder joint right here. Nice. Very good. Okay. Let's come back to neutral, sitting up nice and tall. As you inhale, let's sweep the arms up towards the sky. Feel yourself getting tall, but also feel your ribs becoming wide. And exhale, arms down alongside the body. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale. We fill the lungs, and we're letting the ribs kind of umbrella open to draw more air in. Exhale. Good. Let's do that twice more. Good. Wide ribs. Exhale. Last one here. Very nice. Inhale, big reach here. As we exhale this time, bring the hands in front of you. We'll roll over the knees and we'll come into all fours. Getting a little movement, a little cat-cow, if you will. So on the in-breath, we're going to arch the back. We're looking up. We're sending the tailbone up to the sky, right? And as you exhale, tuck the chin, round the back, and draw the pelvis underneath you. Right, so we're just getting some global spinal movement here. Inhaling, looking up. Exhaling, rounding down. And move at the pace of your breath. So if you've really stretched out the time that you take to inhale and exhale, let the pace of the movement match that. So no need to rush here. We can learn a lot by slowing things down. Oftentimes our body compensates through rushing, right? We like to zoom past the parts that maybe we're not as connected to, or maybe our weakness, like our areas of weakness. So when we force ourselves to slow down, first we get to understand where our weak spots are, or our blind spots, I should say. And then we use that slow speed to learn those pieces, then integrate it and become more efficient at it, right? What is it? Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. There's some truth to that. Wonderful. So I'm going to face forward for this next one here, just so that you can see the setup. My camera should be able to get everything here. So we're on all fours. We're going to turn the fingertips in towards each other, right? And we're going to go a little bit wider than shoulder width. I need to back up a little bit here, okay? As I drop my chest towards the floor, I get this nice chest opener here, a little shoulder opener with this internal rotation that we have now through the arms. Right? I'm kind of compact. You'll probably be in an all fours position, but just that weight of the chest dropping towards the ground here can add a little bit of a chest stretch. If that feels plenty, stay there. Otherwise, we can start to glide slowly from side to side. I like to imagine I'm kind of aiming my chest bone at the back of the palm. Right, and the deeper you go, you can start to turn the chest towards that wrist. And that will add to the chest and the shoulder stretch. Hopefully we're feeling that stretch there. You can see in my forward cam, hopefully I've actually like twisted my body. So you'll feel the stretch more in the side that you're turning away from. Yeah, good. Some of you on Zoom there are playing with different angles, right? How much are your elbows bent? And so you can start to get a little more connected with your shoulder and shoulder blades, kind of depending on how you play. And that's why I like the name Yoga Playground for my class, because while I'm here guiding you, I encourage you to find your own movement, kind of explore, go off on your own like movement tangent, if you will. This is a space for you to play, a sandbox, if you will. Nice. Let's bring it back. Let's find our downward facing dog. So we've got fingers spread wide, about shoulder width apart. Curl the toes under. We're sending the hips up to the sky. Yeah, and let's feel some stuff. What do we notice here in this shape? It's an upside down V. Not required that your legs are straight or your heels are on the floor. In fact, they can be bent and the heels way up. I'd rather you do that and try to reach your tailbone to the sky than try to flatten the feet, and then everything else is kind of rounded and a little funky looking. So if we let the knees bend, heels lift, we send the hips to the sky, the chest comes through the arms a little bit more. A little more of an upper body focus today. We're breathing. One more breath here. Nice. Let's inhale forward into a plank. As you exhale, lower the knees first. This is a modified vinyasa. And then the chest and chin drop between the hands. Keep the booty in the air. Inhale, slide forward and up. So the belly flattens, but the chest will lift. And exhale, let's come into downward facing dog again. At any point, if you need to take a rest, you're more than welcome to. One option is just a child's pose where we bring the knees out wide and the feet together to touch. Always an option for you. Okay, this tends to be a little bit more strength and mobility heavy compared to some of the more mellow classes, so don't feel like you have to do everything here. Good. Let's do 2 more of those little vinyasas. If you know the full thing, go ahead and do that. So we're inhaling forward to plank. You can lower to chaturanga if you know it. Otherwise, knees go down first, then chest and chin. Inhale forward and up, cobra. So the belly is flat and the chest is lifted. And we exhale, downward facing dog, DFD. And breathe. Really getting into the shoulders here. We'll use this breath to calm things back down. Last one here. Inhale, forward to plank. Exhale, chaturanga if you know it. Otherwise, knees, chest, and chin. Inhale, forward and up. And exhale, downward facing dog. Nice. A few breaths here before we come to the top of the mat. Let's inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Woo. Yeah, downward dog can be tricky if you've got a sweaty palms, or if your knees are weak and your palms are sweaty. Maybe you've got your mom's spaghetti on your shirt. We're going to walk the feet forward. We're at the top of the mat. Forward fold. It is true though. I get like a micro bit of rage when I can't like find purchase on my mat, or if I'm too slippery, and then I have to remember this is part of the practice. This is what we're breathing through. Yeah, hot yoga I cannot do. So we're in that forward fold. You can let the arms hang here. Some people like to grab the opposite elbows, and it just gives you a little bit more traction, a little more weight pulling you into this forward fold. But I invite you to try hands just dangling, whether they're on the floor or not. And those same shoulder rolls that we did, really mindful, really active shoulder rolls, you can do them in this position, and it feels totally different. Right? We've just changed the orientation of the body. We've done the same action, but the brain's like, wait, what? So take it slow. Use those cushy shelf liners. Yes, that's smart. People in Twitch are saying using those little cupboard grippies. That's a great tip there, Pilates. John, bro, I'll let you know. I'm not sure which poses you were talking about, but I'll have you ask after class, and I'll show you. Some of these don't have yoga pose names. Because it's kind of a hybrid of movement stuff and yoga stuff. So we're gonna roll the body up to standing. How do we do that from our forward fold? Start with deepening the knee bend, and then draw that tailbone underneath you. Right? Feel the abdominals starting to stack each part of your back on top of itself. Right? I feel it more in my abs than I do in my back. Right? We were kind of talking about that bracing style when I was deadlifting yesterday. Let's inhale, big sweep up. Exhale, forward fold. We're going to do a couple of these spinal rolls because it just feels good. Once you're at the bottom of your fold, deepen your knee bend. Draw that tailbone under you, right? Like a dog tucking its tail. And let that action roll you up to standing. Arms and head are the last thing to come up. Chat is popping off. I'll see you guys in a moment. Inhale, big sweep. Exhale, forward fold. We'll do this 2 more times. Sweet.
Deep knee bend. Draw that pelvis under. Slowly rolling up. All right, see if you can feel each part of your back. And it's okay if you don't feel it right away. This takes practice. We have to do this consistently to build those mind-body connections. Exhale, forward fold. I'll wait until later. Yes. Oh, yeah. I'll talk through, I'll give a guide of vinyasa in the post-class Q&A. I'll show you what it is. You might hear that in yoga classes. All right, take your vinyasa. And it's like, well, what is that? All right, let's come to standing here. I want to work on some active shoulder mobility. This comes from the FRC. We call these shoulder CARs. CARS stands for Controlled Articular Rotation. So in the same way that we moved our shoulder blades more slowly and bigger with muscular action, we're going to do the same thing through the shoulder joint itself. So we'll come to standing here. If you have a block, it can feel nice to squeeze that block between your thighs. If you don't have a block, it's not critical here. We're going to go both feet facing forward. So we give the block a squeeze, or your legs can come together and give that a squeeze. We've got our belly braced, and we're going to hold left hand down into a fist. Okay? The right hand's going to be our target right now. How long do you need to hold a stretch? That's going to be, to elicit some lasting change, you're going to have to be there for at least 1 minute to 2 minutes. But we're going to do some active stuff here. When we add some active load to our movement, that will help us gain mobility, right? We gain strength at these really extreme end ranges. So let me take you through this shoulder CAR here. So I've got my left fist clenched tight. Everything that's not moving, everything that is not our right arm is locked tight here. It's going to take effort because we're squeezing our body. I'm going to go blade hand in my right hand. And as I lift it up slowly, I'm going to bring it across my chest here. And if you experience any sort of pain through this, you can, back off. If it's still painful, you can just sit it out and watch, and we'll pick up where you left off. So I'm bringing this up nice and slow. And I get to a natural stop point up here where my arm can't go back any further. And what wants to happen, I'm going to go to kneeling just so that you can see this a little more clearly. A lot of what wants to happen here is, if you look in the side cam, my chest wants to pop out. So feel into your body. See if that's what's happening here. We want to lock this down. This arm comes up. Boom, I hit this stop point. I cannot go any further without my body compensating here, which I don't want to happen. So we're going to turn the palm outward. And I'm squeezing muscular action in here. So there's some effort going on. So as I'm turning that palm outward, I keep going. And what happens is, you can see now I'm kind of going all the way around this circle. So I'm internally rotating that shoulder, and I'm coming backwards. You can see in the side cam, I'm trying not to distort my body too much. I can see that I'm side bending a little bit. But eventually the palm turns upward again. And we're in this very extreme internal rotation position. I'm trying to pull my arm into the midline, and then we finish that circle. Okay? That's halfway. Now we got to make our way back around. So that thumb leads up, and I'm trying to suck my arm into my midline behind me. And I hit a stopping point where, without turning my arm, I can't really lift any higher. Then we unwind the arm and come all the way around. And then from here, we bring that arm back across the body, and we finish. Yes. So someone in chat is saying it feels really good in their shoulder tension, or in their shoulder. Because I think you have some tightness in your neck, First Class Fitness. So let's try that on Zoom. I'm watching you guys here. The idea is that we don't want to just It's not about whipping the arm around, because you can see that my rib cage flares, my body contorts. What we're trying to do is feel all the muscular action in the shoulder and the surrounding tissue, right? So we're squeezed. I'm coming up, and I'm squeezing internally, right? I like to imagine I'm kind of moving through a pool of molasses. So I have to create internal tension here. Once I get to this stopping point, I keep my ribs packed down, turn the palm away, and finish that circle. Oh, you can see I distorted, right? I kind of leaned over to get it there, but that's not my honest to goodness shoulder mobility. So turn that arm all the way in, and as I finish, the back of the palm comes to the thigh. Nice. And I'm starting to sweat just creating my own internal tension, and you might be feeling that same increase in heat as well. Let's go backwards, and we'll do the other side. All right, so I'm lifting my thumb up. You can see it in the side cam here, and I can't go any further. And then I'm going to unwind the arm, which unlocks some space for me to continue my rotation. Now on the way down, I don't really feel a lot of limitations here structurally. So I'm going to imagine, right, I've got that tension. You can see I'm demoing that I'm fighting against my own resistance here. You don't have to do this. You can create that same tension internally. All right. So I have to ramble a lot there to get you to understand the pieces that are happening on the inside, because it's hard to tell. If you just saw this, you'd be like, wait, that doesn't look too bad. Let's do the other side. All right. Oh, hey, what's going on? We got Mini Subu there. All right, so our right hand now clasped into a fist. Our left arm is the star of this show now. So we're going to brace everything down. I'm squeezing the block, bracing my belly to keep my ribs packed down. Blade hand in that left hand. Nice. John Bro said that opened up his shoulders. We got 2 people that this really helped so far. So I'm going to lift that left arm up across the body. Once it crosses the face, we kind of get back into line, and I hit a stopping point. If you look at this side cam, we don't want to let those ribs pop forward here, because that movement is not coming from our shoulder, it's coming from our rib cage, okay? So keep the ribs packed down. When you can't go any further, turn the palm out and keep rotating the arm in that same direction until you get it behind you, and then try to suck it into the midline, right? I'm trying to make my arm disappear in the camera shot here. And then I finish all the way down, right? And we know that we're there because the back of the palm is against the thigh. We've got that internal rotation through the shoulder. Good. Let's go back. So the thumb goes to the sky. Oh, and I fight it. I try to get as high up as I can without turning my arm when I absolutely can't. Then I let that arm unwind, and I make my way back. Oh. And now you're fighting against your own internal tension here. Wonderful. You getting some pops in there? People are getting some pops in their shoulder. Maybe you're feeling that same thing there too. Let's do one more on the left side. We'll do 2 and 2, and we're even. We bring it up across the body here. Keeping that tension. I feel muscular squeeze happening all throughout here. Getting to that stop point. I can't go any further. Well, I turn the palm. Continue that rotation. Nice. You guys are looking great there. Subu, I could only see your lower half, but I imagine you're doing it perfectly. And bring it all the way down. Yeah, these are called shoulder cars. You can look this up on YouTube. Let's go reverse. Thumb up to the sky. But it's stuff that I like to teach, and I like to pepper it into my classes there. Good. When I can't go any further, then I let the arm unwind. And here I'm going to cut through molasses. So it doesn't look like it, but I'm kind of fighting this kind of force. Nice. Let's shake that off because that's a lot of tension that we just held in the body. So let's give the body a nice little shake, just kind of slough that off. Very good. Let me get a sip of water here. I don't normally teach the shoulder car in here. We do a lot of hip cars, and we did those on Tuesday. But the shoulder car can be a really nice one. So First Class Fitness and John Bro, if you felt that helped your shoulder, feel free to use it whenever you'd like. That's a daily movement that you can work on there. So we're standing. We're in our forward fold. Let's make our way back down. Excuse me. Inhale. We reach up to the sky. Folding forward as you exhale. And Laura, I'm probably going to do a lot of those with Mike on Monday. So inhale, we'll bring the hands to the shins, lift halfway up. And exhale, let's bend the knees, plant the hands, step into your plank. You can take that vinyasa, and we'll talk about that after class if you want to stick around and watch. Otherwise, we'll drop the knees, chest and chin. Yeah, a good warm-up. As you inhale, slide forward and up. So this is called Cobra Pose. And exhale, let's come into our downward facing dog. And notice what this feels like. Do you have a little bit more space in your shoulders to send the tailbone a little higher? Do you feel a little stronger in your arms? Maybe you just feel more sensation in the shoulder girdle. Just taking note of all of these things. And you might be tired too. You might feel fatigued in the shoulders. That's still valuable information. Cobra hurts, yeah. Cobra is a good one to get us into spinal extension. We don't always get that. Good. We're going to inhale, come forward into our plank. And then we're going to drop down onto our forearms. Ba-doom, ba-doom. Okay, so we're in this forearm plank here. I'm going to take my right forearm and slide it in 90 degrees, and then stack my hips. So I'm in this kind of forearm side plank action. Couple of options here. You can see that I have my feet staggered. My top foot stepped in front here. I'm rolling my shoulders open. I'm pushing down through the floor here. Arm can reach to the side. She's back on tonight. Yes. Pilates Mama teaches Pilates on here. Very good. So if you're fine and dandy right here in this side plank, great. Let's get a little extra movement for those who want to go further. We'll take an inhale here. As you exhale, take that top arm. We're going to thread it underneath. And I'm going to try to reach as far under as I can. Keep pushing down into the floor with that right forearm. On your next inhale, we unwind out of this. Exhale. Thread it through. Sorry, I just heard an alert. Let's come up. Exhale. Maybe your feet are stacked. That's fine too. But we keep pressing down in through that right forearm to keep us stable here. Last one. Good. Inhale, come up. And exhale, bring that left hand down. We'll drop the knees and just take a rest in child's pose here. So my knees are wide, my feet are together to touch, and that allows my trunk to just sink in between the thighs here. As the arms reach out, we get this nice little lat stretch, especially if we're actively reaching forward. And you'll hear that a lot in my classes. We're active, we're squeezing, right? Because yoga isn't necessarily about just being all bendy and flowy all the time. What we're practicing is getting into these long shapes or these end range positions and learning how to control our force there. So when we want to increase our flexibility, we don't want to just stretch a rubber band out, right? Because if we just stretched out a rubber band, we would lose the elasticity of the band over time. Right? And our muscles aren't exactly like elastic bands, but we want to stretch them out and then teach them how to come together again. So that's muscular tissue, that's connective tissue. So that's why I'm talking a lot about squeezing and internal tension, things like that. Let's go to the other side here for those little rotations. I'm going to change direction so I'm still facing the front. So we'll come forward, step into our plank. Let's just feel a downward facing dog for a moment. And we're doing a lot of stuff that involve our shoulder blades. So see what you might feel in this right side, right under that armpit, that we haven't quite gotten into on the left side yet. But let's go there now. Inhale forward into your plank. Exhale, let's lower down onto our forearms. Ba-doom, ba-doom. Now I'm going to turn my left forearm to 90 degrees. So I'm going to take my left hand towards my right elbow, and that gives me that 90-degree position. From there, I can stack my feet, or I should say stack my hips vertically, so that we're in this elbow, or kind of this forearm plank. I'm trying to push all the way down through the floor here. And you can just stay in this static side plank. This is challenging, okay? Don't make me let you think that this is an easy position. But if you do want more, we'll thread the needle a little bit. Inhale. Exhale. I'm going to thread under as much as I can. I'm going to feel my torso turning. I feel obliques, but I also feel my shoulder girdle. Inhale, come up. Exhale, thread it under. Good. 2 more here. Breathe in, unwind. You might just stack feet on top. Gives you a little less balance, but allows you to rotate a little further. Last one here. And exhale. Wonderful. Let's come back up. Drop that right hand to the floor. Knee, knee. Sink back into your child's pose. Okay, let me catch up on chat here. What are you guys talking about? Oh, nice. Thank you, John, Bro, and Pilates. You guys are all getting connected on the chat. I appreciate it. How's everyone feeling there on Zoom? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs all around? Excellent. Nice. I got one of these thumbs up from Kate. She gives me a little boop. No effort given, and I like that. That's working smarter, not harder, folks. I'm a big fan of that. All right, so let's come up to a kneeling position or a seated position. I like this Seiza squat, but it is not accessible to everyone because this is a lot of pressure on both the knees and the ankles. But I'm here a lot when I'm working on my computer or if I'm working with clients, so this is nice. If you're in martial arts, this is maybe a little bit more of a familiar position for you. But let's get into our eagle arms here. So arms come out to a T. I'm going to bring my right arm across the body, my left arm over top. Okay, this is how I've been enjoying teaching this. I'm going to bend my right elbow. Step 1 might just be pulling that arm across the chest. Okay, really seeing how far across the chest that you can get that. For full eagle wrap, we're going to bend that left elbow as well and look to connect palm to palm, or maybe palm to wrist, more realistically for some of us here. Love this stretch. If you're just hanging out, sitting and watching, you can definitely do this in your desk chair as well. All right, really nice stretch here across the back. To add to this, we lift the elbows and or press the elbows away from us. What that's doing is it's pulling the shoulder blades. It's widening them apart. It's spreading them. It's called protraction of the shoulder blades here. Now, with my arms bound like this, I like to feel some really unique neck stretches by tipping ear to shoulder, seeing which side feels better for you, and move slowly. You don't need to crank or whip anything here. Just notice what you feel. Just different positions of the head and the neck with our arms bound like this can give you another sensation of stretch there. Oh, okay. So we had a student asking, how do we modify the eagle arms, right? So the first step is just this one. Definitely not the same. What you can do from pulling that arm across the chest, if you want a little bit more of that scapular protraction, we can bend the arm and kind of just try to pull it across the body. And then you can see in the side cam, I'm trying to push the elbow out the same. Good. Nice. I hear somebody at my door. That's kind of creepy. So not the most elegant of modifications there, Pilates Mama, but it can get the job done. I'll think on that though. Let me get back to you on play with it a little bit. All right, so let's come out of that. We'll go the other side. Sorry, that threw me off. I thought somebody was going to bust into my door there. Let's go into the other arm. We're going to bring that left arm below. Right arm on top. Right? So step one might just be pulling your right arm across the chest. And to get some of that that added protraction, Pilates Mama, this might be another modification avenue, is that from this pose here, and if you know the full eagle wrap, go ahead and go there. I'm going to try to reach out through my right shoulder blade, right? So I kind of lateral side bend high up into the spine, and that gives me that nice kind of protraction stretch that we can get with the eagle wrap, okay? I gotta play with this though. I'm glad you asked that, because now I'm gonna kind of toy with some alternatives for eagle. Because yeah, this can be tough, especially if you've got thicker arms. This position isn't always the easiest to get into. So to make this a little more challenging, or to, I should say, add intensity to your stretch, we lift the elbows from the body and we push the elbows away. Awesome. Yes, I'm glad that helped. Nice. Subu, yeah. Okay, I love it. Subu's got, on the Zoom, he's got like 2 fingers that can just barely make that second twist. And you know what? I bet that's working for you, right? Just that alone is helpful. I bet what you could also do, I don't have my strap handy, but I wonder if you could grab a strap around the wrist and then just pull it. You know what? Let's try it. Because this might help somebody else out that's watching. Okay, I'm just going to grab the first thing that I got here. Let's just pretend this is our strap. Now I'm going to... Is it going to work? Oh, no. I had the idea in my mind, and then it went. I'll play with it, and I'll see if I can get it to work. I'll get back to you on that. Wonderful. All right, so the shoulder blades should feel a little bit better here. Now, wherever you are in your seated or your kneeling position, hopefully this is comfortable. If you need to readjust, feel free. I want to do just a little bit more thoracic opening here to finish us up today. We'll do a couple of seated poses, and then we'll kind of chill out for the class. Tall seated position. I'm actually going to sit on a block here to make this a bit more accessible for me. Arms are out in front of you, palms together, and we'll turn backs of the palms to touch. All right. I'm going to tuck my chin and really feel into that upper part of the back. Imagine that you are the Hunchback of Notre Dame, or Hunchbacktress. I don't know. What's the female version of that? So from this, it's kind of like you're diving into a pool here. Let's take an inhale. And as you exhale, reach just your right fingertips forward. Let me turn to the side so you can kind of see there. And that's giving me that spread across the upper right back. We inhale, come back to center. Exhale, now I'm reaching forward with just my left fingertips. And again, I'm tucking my chin. I'm trying to stay in that hunchback. Breathe it in, slide it back. And exhale. So these can be done in your desk chair if you're just sitting and watching. Breathe in, back to center. Exhale. Let's go one more on each side. Breathe it in. Breathe it out. Reach. How far forward? How much further forward can you get those right fingertips? Good. Breathe it in. Exhale. Nice. I'm glad you're liking it, John. Inhale. Let's come back to center here. Breathe into the upper back and then let it all out. Good. Now as we inhale, turn the palms up, lift the chest, try to aim your sternum to the sky, look up. And exhale, backs of the palms come together, we look down towards your belly button. Inhale. I would teach this in my singing group as our warm-up, and they would make fun of me, right? It's a bunch of older gentlemen, right? Not a lot of young folks singing barbershop. And so I would do this movement, right? I would kind of inhale and exhale, and they would make fun of me at like how like floofy I got with my arms. And I'm like, you know what? It feels good in my body, so I'm going to do it anyway. And you know what? And they always liked it, and they always asked me to teach them. So while they were making fun of me, I knew that they secretly liked it. So feel free to get theatrical with it. Pilates Mama, I think you have that theatrical dancing background. You can give it some flair. Right, so we're just adding in some shoulder movement, but you can see the spine is just going through that same cat-cow flexion extension. We're just lubing up the spine. And that feels fine. Good. Last one here. Fluffy is manly too. That's right. That's right. Hopefully we should be feeling very open in our upper body right now. If not more open, at least more connected to that part of the body, meaning we can feel what's happening back there. It's no longer as much of a blind spot for us. So let's come down onto our backs. Let's start to wind things down a bit. What's our time? We got 10 minutes remaining. Classic Alvin Ailey dance theater move. Oh, nice. Okay, I don't know who that is, but maybe you can tell me after the class there. Let's come onto our backs. Let's do a modified bridge, shall we? So I've got the heels pulled into the hips, and they're about hip distance apart, okay? If you have a block or anything about this size handy, and you want to take things more easy today, let's just make sure this is within hand's reach. So as we push the floor away, the hips lift up into the air. Okay? Some of you might like to support your hips with your hands, or you can take those hands and interlace them under the body. I think we were going over this last week. Now right here, once I interlace, I'm still on the backs of my shoulders. So if I can shimmy and start to tuck my shoulders underneath me, now the part of my shoulder that's in contact with the floor is the backs of my shoulders. And you can see that it's given me a little bit more of an arch through my spine. I looked at the camera, but we should really keep our heads straight in this position because we're in kind of some deep neck flexion. Now, if you wanted to take a more restorative option here, and you have a block or a prop to elevate your hips, you can take that block right under the sacrum, that tailbone, and just plop your hips there. No effort required. This is very restful. You may even start to play with maybe one or two legs up. Okay, so a couple of different options here. Yogi's choice. And like I said, I call this class Yoga Playground because by all means, let yourself play. Remember when we were kids, there weren't any rules. You would just explore. And that's how we started to learn the boundaries of the world. So here I invite you to play in your body, try things, experiment, play. Find out what your limits are and how your mindset is. Hopefully we can get more into that childlike sense of play and exploration here. Good. If you're on the block, stay there. If you had your hands clasped, you can come down for a moment. Okay, we're going to go into that one more time. I'm going to give an option to go into full wheel. Now, full wheel is more advanced. It requires a lot of upper back mobility, and it can be hard on the wrists and the back. So again, if you see this and you attempt this, I am not there to spot you or give you any heads up. So if anything hurts, we're not going to force it, okay? And I'm going to try to give you some stepping stones to get all the way up there. But if you're not even feeling comfortable to do the full wheel, we can just do the same modified back bend that we were in, okay? So the setup is the same. We lift the hips. If you're going to stay where we just were, we can interlace the fingers, shimmy onto the backs of the shoulders, really get that chest to lift up. If you want to attempt to go further, right, if you have no limitations or no pain in your body right now, maybe we set the hands up right on either side of the head there. You can see that I've got my fingertips kind of pressed into the ground there. They're aiming towards my shoulders. So the first step would be to press down and maybe just come to the crown of the head and then bring yourself back down. And by crown of the head, I'm not even putting any weight on the crown. I'm just kind of like pushing up with my arms, tapping, and coming back down to the back of the neck. And that should be just something that you practice and comfortable with. If it's a struggle just to get to the crown of the head, we're not ready to go to the full bridge yet, okay? And we didn't even do a ton of like loaded extension here. So only if this is available to you. Once you get to the crown of the head, then maybe we can squeeze the elbows into the midline, press up, and open the chest, right? And we're just going to take 3 big breaths here. I'm going to try to calm things down. To come out of this safely, tuck the chin, lower down at the back of the neck and shoulders, and we slowly let the spine come down. If you were on a block, we can remove that block, and we'll all come to lying on our back here. Go ahead and bring your knees into the chest, slowly rolling them around. Very nice. Oh, cool. Panda, I'm going to catch up with you after class. Hey, Vantana, welcome. Panda, I want to hear about your counseling. I'll read that in a moment. I love that. Everybody on Twitch, all the little Twitch family, we've been talking about mental health and just being yourself and letting go of past stories. And it's been a really positive community. Wonderful. All right, let's come into some of our spinal twists here. I'm going to move my body pack so I can get that out of the way. Let's bring the knees into the chest. And we're allowing the body to roll to the left side. I'm going to crush my body pack here. Kaplunk. Nice. And we're going to open that right arm up and over into this spinal twist. Now this is your basic twist here. If we want a little bit more, we can go into the eagle wrap. I wanted to teach this one because I've had a couple people tell me they prefer this twist compared to this next one I'm going to show. So I'll get you settled there. If you want to go a little bit deeper into this twist, the right leg wraps around the left once. Both knees bend, and maybe you can get that double wrap. And then we... Whoop! No! Shruti bogs down! Sorry, guy. So what happens here, when we got that eagle leg wrap going on, it's giving us a deeper twist because the function of the wrapped legs helps to kind of pull the femur and keep it in place, right? So that we're actually drawing the pelvis into more of a rotation. What happens when we twist with our knees just parallel is you can see here, or maybe if you look down at your knees, we've actually got the knees that have sheared apart. So while our knees have dropped to one side, this shearing action is telling us that our hips didn't fully rotate. And so the sensation of twist isn't as deep. So depending on your body type and how you're feeling, you may prefer to go with a more mellow, just knees stacked versus the eagle wrap. Oh, yeah, I can feel the difference there. Definitely takes my breath away. Eagle legs, you take my breath away. And we're breathing here. Notice what it feels like to breathe when your torso is wrapped into this twist. And this is, I love twists to illustrate how powerful a long exhale can be. So we breathe in, really try to fill up. It's going to feel like some resistance because we can't fully inflate. And then as you let that air out slow, feel your body just soften. Now, if it's hard for you to kind of slow down your breath, your exhale, you might even try humming to yourself, right? So we inhale. So the action of humming acts to slow our exhale down. All right, and when we do our closing Om chant, that's kind of another physiological thing that's happening. We're using that time to do the Om chant, but we're slowing down the exhale, which is tapping us into that parasympathetic or that rest and digest. Good. Let's come out of this twist here. Slow. Let's come into the other side, right? So we can do our knees stacked, fall to the right, open the left arm, or we can do our eagle wrap, which is a more intense twist because it's pulling our hip further into the rotation. To do that, we wrap that left leg around the right and hook the toes behind the calf. So this may not be accessible to everyone, but I just, there's a whole spectrum of ability levels in here. So then we fall over to the side. Woo, that's a deeper twist. My shoulder won't even be able to make it to the floor yet. And I say yet because it's close. I can feel that it's close, and I know that I can use my exhale to close that gap. Let's try it. We inhale. Slow exhale and just melt like butter. Ooh, it got closer. Let's do one more time. Oh, yeah. You know what? Third time's a charm, right? Let's breathe it in. Try to pull all the air in that you can. Once you get to the top of the breath, try to pull a little bit more air in. And there we go. That last one got my shoulder to the ground. Did you notice that your exhales got you a little deeper into this twist? Not a forceful deepening, but a kind of a softening deepening. Wonderful. Now we're going to unwind out of this twist nice and slow like. No need to rush it there. Subu, it's just after 1. I know you generally have to go like right on the hour. So if you need to pop off, I will say adios. Otherwise, we're going to get set up for our final Shavasana here. This is our resting pose. Legs out long, arms down alongside the body if you're laying on your mat. If you're just hanging out, sitting in a chair, maybe we just use these few moments to close our eyes and lie or sit into stillness. So we want to make ourselves comfortable here. If there's any discomfort in the low back, elevating your knees with a blanket or some blocks can make a big difference there. Some people like to cover their eyes with an eye mask or a shirt or a towel. And as we settle here, we can let go of that big breathing that we were doing, that conscious breath. We can kind of take a step back and just be an observer of what the body does on its own. Just appreciating the autonomy that it has to take care of all of these bodily functions without our conscious control. It keeps us alive every second of the day. There's something to appreciate. And as we settle here, just feeling the weight of the body into the floor, as if each limb were made of pure lead. Just, you couldn't move your limbs even if you tried. And if thoughts come up, if our mind begins to wander, that's okay, it'll do that.
we can just give it a gentle nudge back to paying attention to the body. Right? What does the breath feel like? Can you maybe feel the areas of the body that we were working today, kind of that upper back, shoulder area? And if there's one more part of your body that you can feel soften, let's go there. Feel your breath beginning to deepen here. Noticing just small movements of the fingers and the toes, waking the body up slowly. Beginning to move into the wrists and the ankles. Whether you're lying down or sitting in a chair, we'll inhale, reach the arms up overhead, take a big breath in. You can open the mouth, stick out the tongue. Nice, one more time, just like that. Big inhale, stretch. Open mouth, stick out the tongue. Love it. Let's bring the knees into the chest. And just roll your body to one side so that we can make coming up to seated a little bit easier here. Oh, you guys have been chatting a lot. That's great. I'm going to catch up in chat here in just a moment. But we are going to finish with 3 rounds of Om. You can join in from where you are. You can just enjoy the sounds if you'd like. I'm going to play this Shruti box, and this is just kind of like a harmonium. You'll probably be able, I hope you can hear it. So this is just kind of a bellow instrument, and I open these little holes here like keys on the keyboard, and it allows the air to vibrate reeds. So it makes this really cool timbre sound that matches really well with the human voice. And it just gives us a note to cue in on for our Om. So this is the note that we're going to Om with. So in a comfortable seat, hands can be on the thighs. Maybe you prefer hands to be in prayer at the heart, and we'll close the eyes. We'll take one breath cycle before our 3 Oms. Okay. Let's breathe in. And exhale all of the air out. Big inhale breath for Om. I wish you guys were all here to hear that and experience that in person. It's just so beautiful. Hopefully you guys joined in or just enjoyed the sound of that. I want to thank you all so much for coming and either joining in or watching class. It has been a pleasure.